Meebook has found themselves in a little bit of trouble ever since they took that year off with BOYUE back in 2020. Sales have dropped, and they hold nearly no market share of the current e-reader industry. But things may be turning around a little bit with this. This is the Meebook M7. This unit is uncharacteristic of Meebook devices thus far, and that's a good thing. It's built out of high quality materials, feels good in the hand, has a good weight, and simply looks gorgeous. It has tactile customizable Keymap buttons on it, and a 7-inch e-paper screen. SD card and audio is standard, so with that, let's take a look. Before we get rockin' and or rolling, as per the usual trend as of late, we are going to weigh this. And remember, benchmark is a Kindle Paperweight at 200 grams approximately. This is 247, 248. This is on the heavier side of things. This is a chunky dunker. This one has quite a good build quality, I must say, and let's get into the build right now. You see a standard 7-inch unit in front of you with a very nice accompanying rail bezel. It looks like it's separate from the actual bezel of the unit itself. It has these really cool buttons that are key mappable. You can do long press or single press on both of them. We'll show you that in the UI elements page. You have a power button up top, and you have a speaker with an SD card, and look, a little tiny door for the SD card. That is awesome. Finally, we have some steady stream of e-readers coming out that have a support for external storage. We have a very nice quality back. It does not snap, it doesn't push in. It is a very, very nice kind of sparkle gunmetal black. Look at that, it's almost like an onyx. Not an onyx device, I mean an onyx color, like onyx, like the precious gem. Let's look at the unit itself, starting with this, which we set up because it is very, very beautiful the way they do this. I love how they got rid of just A2 mode, and they've gone into industry standard, which is normal, HD, Regal, normal mode, fast mode, and top speed mode, which is the A2 moniker they have there. And look at this, they have IMG 256 or 256 grayscale, and they have a contrast dial that works system wide. I love that new layout. I must say, everything from the UI to the build quality to everything else, the way it feels, the way it looks, everything is just so refreshed on this unit. It is just a weight off our shoulders because Meebook has been struggling. It is an objective fact. They've been struggling to retain their market share and get back on track. They do have a top drop down with various things. It's all icon based until you expand it, then it has some text. These are all just kind of standard things: Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, sound, auto, rotate, etc. What we want to look at is settings, because there's a couple things here under device settings we want to go over. Look what they have here. They have button customization. I really like this. I like how you can allocate it to page turns just by pressing it. Then you can allocate the long press to be something else. Turn on the light, turn off the light, and refresh. They also leave it to you as to how long you want to set the long press to. No other manufacturer has done that thus far. And it is a small thing, but it is interesting to see companies always trying to advance e-paper and usability for their consumers. They also have Enable Google Framework. You don't need to do it because it comes default as switched on. They have a couple other things as well. If you go to user settings, they have hide store. Now, they have found that a lot of people didn't like the store on the main screen, because if you go to the home screen, you'll see here that it says read, bookstore, and app. And why they know this is because it only has Chinese content on it. So what they leave it to you to do now is to actually hide the store. Once you do and you go home, it's just read an app, and you no longer have to be bombarded by the less than amazing store that is the Meebook store, because it's just littered with free public domain stuff, and 98% of it is Chinese. Now, you do have a reading experience that is very nice. Now, there's a small problem with the page turn buttons. Yes, they are key mappable, but because they're key mappable, they don't allow you to do any inherent features with page turns outside of single page. For example, if I do double tap, it's not going to jump chapters or jump volumes or anything like that. It's just going to go forward a couple pages. If I long press, it's not going to whip through the book because I have mapped long press to be refresh. and I've mapped page back to be the glow light. So that's a little bit of a downside to having that level of customization, is that they actually take away from you unknowingly these advanced features that Barnes & Noble and things like Amazon take advantage of. So now that we're done talking and through into an actual book, let's check it out. We do have the stock reading experience, which is pretty customizable. Honestly, you get a lot of features upon long press, and if you go down to text, this Meebook has just, they're infamous with giving you a ton of customization. You can change everything to make it look crazy, whatever you want, up and down spacing, left and right spacing, font spacing, indentation, just about everything they allow you to change. Now that's not only it when it comes to reading, and we're going to tangent a little bit because we are going to go to apps and look at Google Play. Why? Because Google Play is the be-all, end-all of apps, games, and everything else. And why we want to touch on this is not because of the apps and everything, although you can do it. It has full Google Play, and we've shown it a million times on devices. But this tab that goes overlooked a little bit, this is books. And yes, they have manga and ebooks and audiobooks and everything else. So if we want to click on something, you can click on something. You can buy it for a penny for this particular one, 1 yen, or you can read a free sample. Once you do open free sample, it opens up Google Play Books automatically, and then you're into reading an actual book. In which case, you do get page turn animations, things start getting in the way, and you might say, okay, you know what? I'm not good on Regal anymore. That's just not going to fly. So what you have to do is you got to go here and you have to change the refresh. And this is a good opportunity for us to show top speed mode. Now you see, the problem with A2 mode is that there's a lot of staining traditionally because it tries not to refresh as much, although you can mitigate this by long pressing your quick key mapped button to force a refresh, and in which case it gets very fast. And you will see now you can take advantage of animations, and I must say this is one of the units from Meebook/BOYUE that can handle movement, refresh, and overall frame rate without major drops in overall frame rate rating properly. I do appreciate the fact that they really have redone their lineup to get away from that boring basic entry-level P line they have and move over to more of a premium unit, because this is more in tune with something like a Page, with something like a Xiaomi. It's just faster and fresher, and it is more of a fighter than something that just gets pushed to the wayside. Now, talking about this, we do also have manga, as we touched on a second ago. We can go back here, we can go to manga, and we can click on something. I don't know what it is. We're just gonna read a free sample because there's some cool features that Google Play Books allows you to do. Now, when this opens up, we are going to kind of struggle and say, you know what mode do I want? I am going to go back to Regal mode because that looks better on manga, and we do have IMG 256 implemented. There is a little bit of an animation when you turn pages, but that can be kind of pushed to the wayside because it is a great looking unit. Traditionally, you don't want to read manga on 6, 6.8, but 7 starts to get into the point where you get those small mangas, because if I'm holding it like this, it does look like the manga's in Japan. Now, unfortunately, because it's Google and it's not Comixology, they don't have guided view, but they do have the ability to pinch and zoom. They have double tap to zoom in, and you can take advantage of the page turn buttons because they work regardless of what app you're on. If you're on the Kindle app, if you're on the Kobo app, if you're on anything. Manga is completely usable on this. No problem whatsoever. One more thing we have to look at before we get into the audio video portion is web browsing. How does it work? Let's go over to the browser and show you a little bit of an uncut, unbridled look at what it is like to browse. Now that we're on the browser, let us go over here and type in our URL for Good eReader so we can go ahead and navigate over to there. So we're gonna go like that. Go to Good eReader and then click on the blog. This is really what it's going to be looking like when you're navigating through things. Now remember, this is the full HD Regal mode, so it is going to be a little bit slower. And again, force refresh if you want to get rid of that staining in the background. You see that the images pop up. Everything is very slow and sluggish and choppy. It does go into a little bit of a forced A2 mode regardless. While you're moving around, you see that, you get that fluidity back, but then once you let go, it takes a second and refreshes and corresponds to the refresh mode that you are on. Quick note, I have never liked glow lights that give you presets. Uncustomizable locked-in presets. I think they're silly. I think there's no reason to have them. They have off, day, night, and bed. They're terrible presets. Customize is the only one you want because Customize is the one that's going to allow you to change everything. You can change the intensity and the color of it. Don't worry about those presets at all. Customizable page turn buttons, onboard audio, and Google Play allowed this unit to flourish amongst a less than inspired lineup. However, it's not as fast as the competition, there's still no ecosystem to buy books other than Chinese books, and the stability of the company is still to be questioned. Regardless of the cons, we do have to point out, we personally believe that Meebook is on a turning point. This is literally the nicest looking product that they've had since the BOYUE Mimas back in 2018. If you want to grab one of these, details are down below. Thanks for watching.